Well, welcome everyone. My name is Pauline and I own a business called Vino and Van Gogh. We do painting parties and we are located in downtown Springfield, Oregon. Um, I'm going to show you guys how to do pumpkin kisses and harvest wishes. Perfect time of the year to do this. Each painting is exactly the same color at the top, the same back or same bottom down here, same color of pumpkins. And if you are painting this by yourself, you will just continue from what I'm saying to do here, and the other person or yourself will just continue painting. The wonderful thing about a YouTube video is that you can, other than, compared to a live Zoom, is that you can turn it off and you can back up and you can rewind and you can pause, take a break, come back to it whenever you feel like it the next day. I'll even show you how to, well, you know how to go. Just put little caps on your paint, put it back in your little pots and dip it in water, and it will stay for a couple of weeks. So, I'm going to talk about our brushes right now. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I'm going to teach this as though no one has ever picked up a brush in their life, or for a long, long time, which most of us haven't. And we have most of these are the size of brushes that you'll want to have laying around. Here's a bigger round one, fatter right here, and there's a smaller one for detail, for outlining right here. I'm going to show you how that you can get the skinniest little line, even if you just have a big fat brush. It's all about pressure. And then my favorite brush is this 1 inch flat that we have right here. I've got some paint on it because I already kind of started. I guess I'm needing to blue it up a little bit more. I don't think I got it matched here, but the flat brush is what we're going to do the whole background and around. And we're even going to put it down into our grass because you don't want to just isolate your colors and have them everything right here, or just have the pumpkin orange and not have some of it in the letters or on the leaves floating around, or even some of them dropping down here on the grass. So those got our brushes out of the way. We talked about that, and I'm going to show you my palette right here. So I'm going to do this one just a little bit different so that you can kind of see um, if you want to have, a different a look or something. You might want to choose to take your blue and just make the background really, really bright blue because if you've ever been in Denver or Colorado in the fall, or some of those mountain states, the blue skies are just so intense because, and everything that's leaves, oranges, not orange, but the pumpkins, just the blue and the orange are opposite on the color wheel, so they're really going to just pop. You might want to just take your brush, and by the way, always wet your brush. Never just stick it in the paint dry. So just kind of stick it in your cup of water and give it a swish. And I think this blue right here is a little intense. And I went with kind of a little bit more of a stormy look here. So what I want you to do is whatever blue that you want to use, go ahead and just put a little bit out. You want to leave the bulk of all of your piles up here and just grab a little bit now and then, add a dunk of water. And I think if I just put this right here, and I use a palette, just add a dunk of water, kind of shake it off like that. And I'm going to just kind of mix it in here, make it loosey-goosey. And it needs a little bit of that other blue so that they match right here. I think I'm already confusing you because I said I was going to do it different, but I decided that I'm going to try and match them as much as possible. We're going to send you home with the paint that is going to, you're going to be able to do these colors. But you've also got some other paint. We'd like to send them home a lot of paint. Then you can kind of decide what you want to do and what kind of background you want to have. So I put out this other blue because it just needed a little bit more to look like that. And we'll try and see if I can match this. You won't have to worry about that because we're going to mix it for you. But if you choose not to go in that direction, thing is, I did this painting a couple weeks ago. I'm finally getting to the other one. So a little bit more blue. You can see me pulling that in. I just pull a little bit at a time. You don't want to make it too dark because you do want to see your letters. And so you just kind of hang on to your canvas, and how's that? That's going to be good enough. And I'll still be able to see my my letters through here. So just go back and forth. And I like to kind of go like that and then quickly get rid of that line. Wisp it in. I'm going to go across the leaves. I'm going to do everything except the pumpkin. The reason is because if you try to just go up to the leaf like that and outline it on each side, it's going to look really patched together, and everything is going to be darker or a different color. So I'm going to have you do the stem, and I'm going to have you go across the leaves, and I'm going to have you go all the way even into the grass, and just kind of keep going back and forth. Use the flat side of your brush, not the edge like that. You don't want those lines. And when you run out of water, just dip your water into your brush into your water. And we're just gonna I'm gonna go over the lines a little bit. I was always one of these kids that went out of the lines and got bad grades in art. If you go out of the lines a little bit, you're just gonna have a more interest. We're gonna outline it anyway. You're just going to have a more of an interesting, a little halo. It's not going to look so pieced together. And you've got your pictures that that we sent home with you, and your little link. When we get your link, we're going to send you even another picture that we're actually using on the website, updated version, which is this one right here. Okay. And so if you're painting, who's ever painting over here is just going to do the same thing. You're going to go across the whole sky, and you're going to go over the stem, but not the pumpkin. You're going to paint everything except the pumpkin, and you're going to go down into the grass. Okay. Pretty good fun. Now I'm going to go across those letters. I don't know why I didn't include them. Mixing up a little pink here. So I kind of wanted to have the painting that we were looking at, that we fashioned our version after, is very summery. It's just a summer sky. And I kind of like the way this one, it looks like, it's a little bit darker, wind's blowing. Okay. So I've got the front, I've got this whole front of this. What you do want to do is you want to paint the top and the sides and the bottom of your canvas as you're going. Every time you come to the edge of your canvas, you're going to want to paint around the top and the sides. And that'll give you that finished look. All you need to do is just take a push pin, put it in the wall, hang it up, and there's your art you wake up to in the morning. The lighting in here right now, I usually don't film at night. The lighting is it's probably not your lighting or your camera, but I did end up with two complete different colors here. So sorry about that. And you can choose to do whatever you want. You can have two of each, or one or the other one. This one here, if you're here with me in person in your picture, it has more of a little purple in it. So I think I use more of that other blue that that you can choose from. So I'm ready to wash my brush. And we have to let this dry before we can add another coat. And it's up to you how dark you want to go. I kind of like this washy feel right here. And you can see on your painting or on your little picture that there's some white around here. It always gets lighter as it gets to the earth, to the horizon. Your sky is intense up above, dark stars, or dark, big blue sky. And then it gets lighter as a reflection from the earth. So, but you can't paint anything on paint while it is still wet. And you all know that. You paint a wall, you have to wait for that first coat to dry so that because otherwise you can see what it does. So you press my finger right here and lift it off. It's just going to pull that paint off. And so it'll patch that up a little bit. Now let's wash our brush. And at any time, feel free to pause and catch up, or you can watch this all the way through. My video is probably only going to be about 30 minutes because I'm not painting both of them. I'm going to let the other person do that, or let you do that when you want to, continue. So anyway, talk about washing the brushes. You really want to whisk eggs, and you want to whip cream, and you want to churn butter, and then just shake it off. You don't want that spatter and that sound and everything to go all over your furniture or wherever you're painting. You can also blot it on the napkin after this, but I'm going to put on some color underneath of here. I'm going to start with my pumpkin colors, although there's all kinds of colors in there, and we gave you orange, and we gave you kind of, I don't have it right here. I don't want to go next door and get it because there's a party going on. And the last time I went over there, they said, if you come over here one more time, interrupt us. So I'm just going to kind of make that color that we're going to do the pumpkin. But first of all, I forgot to tell you, this is what your sponge is for. You want to keep your palette clean. So just kind of keep, we're going to go into the oranges now, and you don't want that mixing up into the blues, or you're going to end up with a little bit of a mud. Let me see. I've heard there's no ugly colors, just ugly color combinations. So, okay. Now I got that orange, and I got a little bit of that. Kind of made a cream colored, and so this is the color we saw. This green is the yellow is trying to go into the green. So it's kind of like that right here. And I'm going to paint my pumpkin. I kind of lost the lines, and so I'm going to go out, and you can see how when I went out of the lines and I went into the pumpkin with my blue, you can see that now is when I want you to follow the lines. You see there's a little bit darker color. It's starting to run, but that's okay. There's a little bit darker color around here, and that looks pretty cool. So we're going to kind of follow the circumference, the shape of the pumpkin, and have it go circular like this down to the bottom, and then up to the other side. And I'm going to just kind of put this on really thin. And we're going to have the inside a little bit lighter. So by this time, my brush is starting to run out of paint. It's not as dark as it was when I first started out. That's just natural. That's how it should be. It's a little bit lighter in the center like that. Really looks bad with this light. Sorry about that. And let me see if I can sneak over here and adjust it over. Yeah, is that better? Much better. All right, so it's not bright right on it, but so I've got this right here, and you just kind of want to go down to the end a little bit. Make your pumpkin whatever shape. If you want it fatter and bigger, this one is a little bit taller, and this one's fatter and rounder, so it's up to you. Since we are going to go right back over it, we got this orange on our brush. I'm just going to take some of that darker orange and dip it in the water because my brush became quite dry. It used up all of its color. I'm just going to mix it right there, that same pile, and get a little bit darker shade, and just kind of lay it on like that, very light. Just lay it on, almost like just putting a little wash on. And just do the same thing. Some of it's showing through. You want to put your darker oranges, make sure you cover up your stem. Go ahead and color your stem as well. Now I've kind of got like it's turning kind of rust. And it looks nice. This is the orange going over the blue. And it's a little tricky to use it with this big brush, but that's what I started with. And I'm going to switch to the other brush, which is going to be, looks the same. It's just this one right here, a little bit smaller. That's gonna let me curve and twirl in here. And I'm gonna wet that brush and shake it off and pick up that orange. Kind of blot it because I want to put it on a little bit thicker. You don't need to do the dunks and the loosey goosey wash anymore. So I'm just gonna kind of, and then curve your brush in here. Now you can see that. There we go. We'll make that dark green. We'll add our green on top of it, and then you're going to start to see some really cool colors coming up. We like to teach people about colors. I'm going to take some more, and I'm going to wish that blue was down in here because I'm just not getting. I think I'm going to put it down in there. Yeah, I think I will. And I think that when you start this video, or if you're just kind of watching it, or did you just jump in? A little bit. So it's that blue that we had on. See that right there? Just kind of working in layers. Like that. I'm just going to let that dry a little bit. And that's the blue that you had in the sky. And we just added it onto this orange. You know, when the orange went over the blue, it made the green. So that's all it is so far right now. And I'm going to put in the white right here. This is dry enough. And this is the kind of, if you're wondering if your canvas is dry, if you get that sound, you know it's dry. And I'm just going to kind of lighten it up a little bit here. I'm going to go back up in here and add a little bit dark. I'm going to kind of have it the same in the middle, have a little bit here, and then get lighter down here. So this is going to get washed out. This orange is going to get washed out. Best thing to do to keep your water as clean as possible is just take a paper towel and pull that paint off instead of trying to just clean it in your water. This will keep your water clean and your sink pipes happy, and then just go ahead and swish it and wash all that off. Okay. So I am going to put a little bit darker up there that I can see. So I just kind of dunk my brush in the water, but I shake it off really well. I'm going to put a little bit more of that blue up there. Stroke. Now, if you're painting on the table and you got your, you can be as vigorous as you want to, but I'm trying to balance this canvas here with one on the same easel, and I can't get real crazy or it'll go flying. So I will just kind of hang on to it and hope that, so you can kind of see that this is. I'm going to come down a little bit, probably about to about right in here. I see this kind of really light balloon, looks like a helium balloon, kind of a whale shape. I want to get rid of that. And like I said, any of those blues you can mix, even if you want them really dark. Yeah, well, I wouldn't go really dark, but you can mix some white with it if you want to get. Blend this in a little bit there. Kind of wish I hadn't put that stem on first, because it just would be one of those things where I have to patch around it. And I think that's what I was going to just do the top and the bottom, but I think I want to add a little bit more. So here I am. I'm just going to kind of go like that. And then blend that in like that. So it doesn't look so. We have to give a little extra coat of paint. We have to put the green on top of this stem. So it's going to kind of lightly, it's dry enough. I'm just going to kind of lightly, oh, it's orange is coming off. So be it, I guess. I'm going to put a little bit of blue over that. And you want to kind of wait until things dry. but I didn't. Here we go. So now it's a little stormy. It's really stormy. You can kind of put clouds in it. You can like pity patty around a little bit, put some texture. If you want to do anything in the sky, do that while it's wet like this. Kind of let it look how it's kind of dripping in river. And I'll put this, I'll get rid of this one and I'll put this up a little bit closer. So same thing on the other side. You can kind of see how I'm going to start coming in with some white. There's some, this really kind of goes white right in here. And I'm going to kind of come down this way with some white. So wash your brush. And this is a good time to pause and catch up. But there's a real kind of slice right here. And I'm going to bring that kind of a little bit lighter here. And it goes up like that. So on this one right here, your light blue is going to get higher over here. And on this painting, the light blue is going to be down here and it's going to go up in here. Remember, we did have the horizon, or I guess it's the horizon. It's just down so low. We have the foreground and the background. This is the foreground. So we're going to kind of come up right in here. You will see. I'm going to mix some white into that blue. And this is where it gets a little funner. A little bit funner because you're using a little bit thicker paint. As that white comes in. You can actually feel like you're painting instead of doing a little watercolor. Okay. And just kind of hang on to this right here. Just kind of slap that blue in there. Try not to keep going over it and over it and over it in the same and make it perfect. It's going to be fine. You want to blend as much as you can. And you don't want to keep going over it and over it because otherwise you're going to go all the way back to the white canvas and you'll have this one big solid color, which would work as well. You know, anything on this painting works right here. So there. The thing I do want you to avoid is any kind of lines or diagonal line. And I like something like that. If you have your dark blue up here, over here. But like I said, it all works out. It does, it really does. I'm blending a little bit and I'll show you if you do have those lines, that's the perfect place to put a leaf. Just kind of put it between part of it on the dark part of, you know, if you have a slice, you have a really slice of white versus your background, your dark area up there. So now, seriously, I'm going to let that dry because we're going to do the lettering. And I could always, we're going to do the stem and the lettering and these, but I'm going to have you wash your brush. We're going to work on this foreground right here. And you kind of want to make sure that you and your paintings and your partner are lined up. So I just kind of want to make sure that it matches this one over here and just kind of eyeball it. And so it would come about right there. And I picked up a little green. So I just picked up a little green and I just put a little bit there. I didn't wash my brush. I still have the white and blue in there. So why not just put it on your canvas? I already got it mixed up. And here is the green that I used. And I had some of that blue in there from the background. That blue and white, you know. And I like things to, you know, overlap and touch. Be nice. I think I'm going to have to adjust this so that you can see a little bit more. Don't fall down. Don't fall down. A little bit more right here. You can kind of see that. And I like the pumpkins kind of sitting in the grass. You know, you don't want to just have them flat like that. Have some of the leaves and things can go up there. And I like little pieces of the blue poking out. You want to put this green around the edge on either side. When you come to the edge, remember you paint, wrap it around. And I don't need to do that on mine, but here we go. Okay, so keep your brush. You don't need to wash it. It's all relative and it's all going to get mixed into the same painting. And I'm just going to show you where to put it. Take a little bit of that green and I'm going to put it over here. And I want you to take a little tiny bit of the brown. maybe a little like size of a rice. And always just kind of put, maybe you got too much, maybe you didn't get enough, but either way, put it right there. Whatever's left, mix it into your green and see what you get. Well, we're looking for kind of a deep olive green like that. And I'm just going to make sure that this, I wish I could lift this up another piece, you know, there we go, right here. And kind of put some dabs right here. And just kind of going against what I told you earlier, you can't paint on something until it's dry. And you're going to find that if that was wet, what will make it stick is kind of brush stroke. So if you just kind of stab it on there, but don't go over the same spot twice. Just kind of keep moving your brush. Go from this side of the brush, turn it that way. I see some blue on this side of the brush that I hadn't washed off yet. I'm just going to put it on there because this is a mush mesh of leaves and grass and leaves and grass and all different colors of fall. So ready to put another layer. This is done. This is done. The background's done. This needs, it's so wet. I can't add anything more to it, but it is going to, but unless I get my other brush, yeah, get your other brush, get your flat brush. I have two brushes going. Got the little flat brush, and I want to add some more, trying mixing, add some orange and green. So I just put some green there, and I'll pull some of that orange in, and you're going to see a gorgeous color come about. And it's almost the same. It's almost the same as the green and the brown, but I'm just going to kind of look at that a little bit, especially on the bottom here. Just kind of drag your brush along the bottom. And a couple of marks right in here. So grass. Same thing right here and over here. And we'll put some orange in there. Just kind of want to get done with all the green while we have it on our brush, so we don't have to keep going back and forth. Wash your brush, get this paint, put it on, wash your brush, get that paint. So we want to kind of use it up as much as we can while we have it on our brush, because it saves paint. This looks like a pretty cool color to put in the orange and the green and the orange. This looks like a really cool color that I need up in here. So let's just go ahead and outline your stem, which I think it's not so much there, a little bit there, a little bit. It's more on the stem kind of comes right here. You can kind of see where it's kind of jaggedy. It doesn't go, you know, we'll do these later. We're going to put the orange, more orange in the pumpkin. We're going to red down here. We're going to get it brilliant. And then we can come along and you can add the little cracks, or I don't know what those things are called, but this stem is kind of angular. So I just drag it around and turn it and go up and then over and then clean it off. I'm going to leave it like this. We're going to put a few little highlights in there so that it looks, you know, a little bit more three-dimensional. You can have your darker colors on the underside. You have a darker one right there. We'll put a little bit of light on the top. There we go. There we go. All right. I got this wonderful color. I don't want to, you can pat it wherever you want it, get it dark, nice and dark on the bottom. And it's time to wash my brush. And maybe you guys want to take a break, or you want to, I can kind of look in the mirror right there. I see my pumpkin is a little bit lopsided right here. It's kind of goes down. And that's something that you can always see in a mirror image. You can see if something is even or not. Seriously, you hold a painting in front of the mirror and it all makes sense. Or your eye will go right to where it needs a little work. So I'm going to take my sponge and I'm just going to kind of take it off and then fill that up with orange. But yeah, it's time to wash the brush. So here I am going to pull this off. I'm gonna pull the paint off. And I'm going to, there we go. And wash them all because we're not going to use we're going to use the big brush, so I'm going to go ahead and just wash that first. And after I get done washing it, I like to squeeze it, and then it seems like perfect. So I'm going to put another layer of orange, get a little bit deeper right in here, and you can go on top of those veins we put in. And I was going to take my sponge, so this is kind of how you see if yours gets out of shape and you want to even it up a little bit, because I like this one. It's a perfect pumpkin. I'm going to take some of this off. Make it a little. How's that look? Much better, much better. So fill that in with the orange right there. And I'm just going really light. I still want to keep it light in the middle. And if let's just say you did this. Let's just say you got the whole thing so orange, and it's so, I even like that. I don't think there's any wrong way of doing this. But if you wanted it brighter in the middle, just take a little bit of that white and just kind of mix it in there while it's still wet, and get that highlight. You know, that's the highest thing toward you. It's round and it's going to reflect the light. You can take some of that yellow and put it in there if you want to. And that's got a lot of yellow on this one right here. Okay. And there's a secret little color that we sent home with you, tiny little bit, because it's really intense. And one of my employees was doing kind of a red pumpkin. She did a really, really red orange pumpkin. So we gave you this color, and I'm going to show you, and that's that dark red right there. Just take a little bit of it on the edge of your brush. And you want to have the base of your pumpkin down here darker or more intense, or this up here is catching all the light from up here. So it's going to be lighter up here, and the bottom round is going to be, we'll add a little bit of that, and go easy on this. You know, I don't know, maybe I won't send it home with you, but we'll see. Kind of have to, yeah, I like it, but you have to blend it in. I'm gonna put some orange on top of that. I guess it's just getting really intensely orange. Kind of like it though. That is an orange pumpkin. It is. You want to make sure that there's not too much contrast, because I really got dark and it really got intense on that. So I'm just going to pull in a little bit and keep my brush and just kind of lighten it up in the middle there. And some of that came off. Just grab some of that yellow. And then put some of the yellow kind of out here like that. Put your little highlights right here. Or you can use some white. Just kind of like little highlights up here. And then those highlights that I told you that we were going to put in the stem, it's just kind of a lighter, you know, it doesn't have to be light. It doesn't have to be white. So, you know, like that. And a couple dark areas. Maybe you can go in with your black. Okay, hey, hi, I'm back, and I'm going to go ahead and paint. This is all nice and dry. And all we have left to do is put the orange down in here. We've got to put the leaves on, little, little tendrils kind of dancing around. And you'll want to do those with your little tiny brush, not little flat one, but the little pointy one if you have one on hand. I want to put that on right now while we're talking about that. Black is very hard to cover up, so I usually rarely use it. If you do use it, just poke your brush straight in, and that's all you need to make. It started with the dark brown, and I just added one, like a little poke like that, and mixed it in, and that'll be dark enough. So little entrails are just kind of like, they just kind of go down and twirl around and end up on the pumpkin. Oh, I went through some of the white, so you know, patch that up a little bit. A little bit goes a long way, so they're fun. I like to make squigglies. Love to make squigglies, and I do forget that a little bit goes a long way. So this one is, there you go, and I got another one. I love squigglies. I told you that already, didn't I? So there's our tendrils right there. I'm gonna kind of clean that brush off and put like a darker area right here. When we draw these on for you, we're going to give you a little more base so that the pumpkins are lined up on the bottom too. So just kind of using what my assistant had prepared for the video here. This looks pretty good. I like that. Little leaves that you want to put in, and you can use your little, I would probably use the round brush because these leaves are a little bit round. I can't see them anymore. Oh yeah, here's one right here. So it's kind of a oak leaf, and it kind of wiggles around like that, and then just fill that in. When it dries, you can add a lighter part, or you can put the veins down the middle. So we got that one right here, and there's another one. I'm going to put another one right there because I can't see where the leaves, I think they were different on this one, but anyway, a little, gonna start off a little poke right there, a little stem, just kind of lift your finger and fling it off. That's all you need. And there's got to be one right over here, of course. So it looks like this. I'm just going to make it out of that shape. I'm going to do another little oak leaf. Looks like a puzzle. It's got a little stem. Okay. Now a little orange down here in. And you can just go ahead and put all your colors down in there. Put some yellow in there. You know, just kind of randomly, maybe, and the lighter across, a little yellow across the top like this one has. Some little squiggles here and there. And I'm ready to do the lettering, and that's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not sure if how long I will let the video run. I had an interruption and had to leave for a while, so our guy had to piece it back together. Anyway, here we go. Pumpkins. A little flat brush like this. If you don't have one, stop by. We'll give one to you. We got lots of these. We don't do a lot of lettering, but this is our black letter that you're going to have right here. And this is kind of where it gets fun, and you have to really, I don't know if it's that much fun. It's one of those things that I really avoided. When you have a wide area, press down. When you see it kind of start to get thin, lift up and go across. And there's our P for our pumpkin. And you can take all the time in the world that you want to do this lettering and fill it in and make yourself a nice little P. And then you get to do some cursive. These letters down here are just printed. The kisses and the wishes are just printed on. But this right here is, I'm going to go ahead. So start off on the edge and then just kind of follow everything. Pumpkin and the lighting is not agreeing with me right now. So I'm not sure if I can see. I'm trying to remember how to spell it. Pumpkin. So anyway, you kind of get the idea for that, right? Tell me you do, because I don't think that I can stand here and do that. This is something you want to do when you're sitting down and got a lot of time to fiddle with it. So I'm going to show you what I do have time to do, and that is put the kisses in. So I'm just going to go like that, because I can see them. The other ones kind of I had my darker paint up here, and they kind of got covered up. And just turn it like this. Just kind of roll it in your hand like this. And then there's the E for the kiss. And you can be as fancy as you want to be, and you can play with them a lot. You can even take your sponge and kind of, after everything is really dry, you can lift it off and kind of impress everybody with your handwriting. I'm going to make these S's a little bit. Oh, I went too close to the E. That's too bad. There we go. And now I want to put a little bit of black along the inside of my pumpkin, get that a little bit darker. Gonna put this black. Remember I said I don't want to have just the outline these. And this detail is where it all starts coming together, and it all starts making sense and making it worthwhile, and you get excited about it now, or when it comes around there, right there. Just kind of make that darker, leave the top ones light. But I'm going to bring my little painting up here close where you can see it. And usually I'm kind of painting about this close to you. So I don't know, for some reason I had it on the easel and stood back. So there's the pumpkin kiss anyway. And I'm going to show you what they look like together up close in case you weren't able to see all of that. There we are, pumpkin kisses, harvest wishes. Hey everyone, thank you so much, and send me a picture and we will have this a good old time. Thank you.